I was trying to pick a number because my momentum's been taken in other places. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll do 23. Anyways.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. Well, anyway, welcome to the Ultra Mega Cast. Um, yeah, Steven here was just talking about. Sorry, I'm adjusting my headphones. Was just talking about the origins of his name and that the 23rd chapter of Psalms is his favorite, and that's why he picked the 23.
Makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Maybe we'll have to do
Have I
that.
mentioned? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say maybe we'll have to do that next on SFC. Check out SFC.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be Thursday nights. Well, typically Thursday nights at 8, but instead of Bible studies night because Grayson had other stuff to do, I'm here with Ultra.
Yes. We actually talked about that on the other. This is first of all, this is the first back-to-back Ultra Mega Cast I've ever done. We talked about that last night, but I didn't go into it too much because I don't want to air G's business out there.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah. Um,
No, nothing bad, by the way. It's actually good news, a big deal, but we just can't say anything.
right. Um, yeah, sorry about being a little bit late. Like I said earlier, went out to eat and I did a little bit of gardening and stuff, and it's the damnedest thing. I can't tell if I've got weeds or if they're like baby marigolds. So I guess I just
I
gotta
didn't
wait.
realize.
You know.
I didn't know you gardening.
Oh, I love gardening. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
What you plant?
So I wish I could upload some pictures, but to do that, I would probably end up using my email, and I'm not going to be using my email. Um,
Totally fair.
yeah, but I've got an avocado tree. It's not quite a tree yet, but it's getting there. The stem is turning like to wood. It's like it's not just green. It's like getting brown and like thicker,
Sure.
which is cool. And I've got a cactus. Uh, Funny story with the cactus. I actually found that. Um, so we used to have two locations. If you're deep into Ultra Mega lore, you know this. Um, we used to have two locations for the smoke shop. One of them was downtown, and the other one is where it currently is. I didn't like going to the downtown one because it was downtown, obviously, and it just took a long time to get there, and you had way more freaks come in. And it's like,
Makes sense.
sorry, I don't want to deal with the homeless guy that smells like piss, that is clearly high on PCP. Um, Sorry, I am not at that level of Christianity yet. Um,
Yeah, I went to Dragon Con last year in Atlanta,
mm,
and oh my goodness, the streets definitely smell like piss. I
yeah.
completely understand what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah,
Atlanta is a mess. It's a mess. It's terrible. It's really sad.
yeah, yeah. And then and since it was Dragon Con, it was that and uh sweaty cosplayers.
Ew. Oh, not weeb. Oh, gross.
Well, okay, so Dragon Con is not just anime and stuff like that. It is like in every nerd place. So like there's sci-fi, like so there's Star Wars, there's Lord of the Rings, there's Final Fantasy, and there is anime stuff like that. But it's kind of like an everyman nerd
Oh, okay.
convention.
I gotcha. Well, I have to point out the weebs because it was one of their conferences where they had to put up a sign that says it's sexy to shower.
Yeah. Oh, so fun fact. There's a trading card game called Yu-Gi-Oh, and
Mm.
a real big one. So apparently it was meta to purposely make yourself smell so bad so that the opponent will get distracted by your smell, and they had to do they banned that, and they said you have to smell good in order to enter the tournament of Yu-Gi-Oh.
That is fucking crazy. They're doing the smell maxing
Pretty much.
or rot
Pretty
maxing
much.
or whatever it was. That's wild.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, that's disgusting. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying earlier, is when I would go to walk over to where I would go to eat. It was like a bao place. If you're not familiar, bao is like it's like a little taco kind of, but they're from either, I want to say China or Korea. I could be wrong on that, but whatever. Doesn't matter. It's an Asian food. And it's a little bun instead of like your taco shell, and you get like whatever inside of it. But on the way over there was this like sad dead cactus that was just laying in the middle of the grass. It wasn't like it was someone's like plant or something. And it had like a healthy cactus growing out of it, and I was like, I'm gonna take that. So I went and I disconnected it from the dead sad piece on the ground and took it with me, and I planted it back at home, and it's got 2 little paddles that have grown out of it.
So, oh, nice.
Yeah, I've also got some pineapples, and I'm trying to grow okra again. I've done it in the past, but I think the seeds are too old now at this point, so I might not be able to get it back. But yeah, that's my gardening journey.
Oh, nice. Do you have a name for your cactus?
No, I don't have a name for it. It's just kind of my precious, you know.
Yeah, you gotta give it a name.
I guess
make it your mascot.
Precious, you know. Oh well, I mean, the mascot is definitely my face, which you can see on the screen right now. You know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I've actually got the HD picture of my face on screen right now. The one that's in my username or in my profile picture on Twitch is a little blurry, but this one you can actually kind of like read it.
Yeah, I can read it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because so like in our Bible studies, I had both of y'all's streams up to count as a viewer,
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the screens are split in half, so I can never actually see your profile picture, and so but now that I'm full screen the Twitch, I can actually read it. So I didn't even know it said Soundgarden.
Yeah, that's where the name comes from. It's a Soundgarden album I've got.
It's
a really
gotcha.
Good one. Yeah, it's probably my favorite. I mean, people say Super Unknown or Bad Motor Finger, which I actually thought about naming myself Bad Motor Finger, but I was like, Ultra Mega OK sounds better, and you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like it a lot.
Oh, Ultra Mega Qatar.
What?
The name for your cactus.
Okay.
Ultra Mega Qatar.
For a second, I thought you said Ultra Mega Qatar. And I was like,
oh.
Huh? What does Qatar have to do with this?
Yeah.
I mean,
but Qatar.
Qatar, but whatever.
Yeah. Or cactus. Or...
Yeah. You know, if they don't want me to say Qatar, then they shouldn't have spelt it Qatar. They should have spelt it Cutter. But you know what?
I get you.
Yeah. So, there's a few things. I had kind of hyped this episode up a little bit. Because I think that we're going to have a lot of very interesting things to talk about. And the first one I want to ask you is... Well, actually, this is a two-part question. As an American and then as a Christian, how do you feel about Israel?
Oof. Yeah, that's a very tricky question. Because, like, I as a Christian, I have a lot of respect for Israel because, you know, it is a huge part of the history of our faith.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so like I have a huge respect for it. And and scripture even talks about blessing Israel, like, and not cursing it. I mean, I don't remember the fact. I don't remember the verses, so like I'm not gonna.
Are you referring to Genesis 12:3?
Um, remind me of
So,
that.
Jamie, can you pull that up real quick? Because I was actually talking about this with my boss recently, and honestly, I think this is gonna sound bad, but it's kind of a Jewish psyop.
Yeah.
So the verse.
What I'm sorry. What is psyop? I've been hearing that
Oh,
recently.
so
What
psyop
was?
is like a psychological operation. Basically, they want to like fool you into believing something.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Well. I mean, for me, it's just like if the scripture talks about it, then I'm keen to support it. If I'm putting my trust
mhm.
in God and stuff like that. So that's why I'm like. But that's not to say like as an American, as a country, I do believe that we should focus on fixing our problems first, because
Right.
we can't really fix our own other people's problems if we can't fix our own.
Right.
And I think of the passage that Jesus talks about in one of the Gospels where you can't. It's talking about like uh, referring to if you are trying to tell your brother to take the speck out of your eye, like focus on your own like getting the plank out of your eye.
Mhm.
Do you remember the verse I'm talking
Yes.
about?
It comes from Matthew. I don't remember the exact verse. We can look that up in a sec. I also
Yeah.
want to point out when he's technically talking about money. But when
Mm.
he says you can't serve two masters, you'll love one and hate the other. That's kind of, I would say, also applicable there.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to go back here to Genesis 12:3. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. It does not say anywhere in the Bible to bless Israel. As a matter of fact, this verse here, 12:3, um, that everyone likes to say is like bless Israel. Actually, God is saying this to Abraham, which, if you're from, I mean, I know you are, but like to everyone else, if you're familiar with like Genesis, you would know that Israel doesn't come around until Jacob, which is the grandson of Abraham.
Yeah.
So, and all peoples on
Yeah.
earth will be blessed through you means Jesus.
Yeah.
If you think about
So I
the, sorry,
I'm
just
sorry. Go
real
ahead.
quick, if you think about the nation state of Israel, first of all, which was formed in like the 60s or 70s, don't think it's
Yeah.
the same Israel. Um,
Yeah.
I know it's not,
Totally agree
but
with that.
um, I don't think anyone on earth has been blessed through the nation state of Israel. No
Yeah.
one.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a part of me is like I don't think we should put all of our resources to Israel. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the Bible does say like in Psalms. And you're right. I was wrong.
Well, but that's the thing
Because
is
I looked
it's
up.
not just you. It's not just you. Like this is
Yeah.
something that we have been told. So
Yeah.
that's why
No,
I'm calling it a
I should
psyop.
have. I wasn't confident on that, and I shouldn't have mentioned that. So that's
No, no,
why.
no. I'm actually
The,
glad you did because a lot
yeah.
of people do mention that. Like, I'm not going to call out any specific senators, like Ted Cruz, but uh, those people like to invoke Genesis 12:3, but no,
Yeah.
that's not what it's saying.
Yeah. I
And
do.
like the
I
more you
mean,
look into it, the harder it is to actually try making that claim stick. Go ahead.
okay. Yeah. the only other thing, like I just did a quick Google search, like does the Bible tell us to bless Israel, and it says no basically, but I do one thing that I think that's pretty obvious. It's in Psalms 122:6. It says, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May
Mhm.
those who love you be secure." So,
Yes.
I at the very least, we should definitely pray for peace of Israel, as well as the pretty much the whole Middle East,
Yeah. Well,
because
I
the
mean,
Lord knows the Lord knows that 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 they need that for sure.
right, right. I mean, I would take that a step further. I would say that like we should be praying for peace for everybody. You know.
Oh, for sure, for
Um.
sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
and
just that one particular verse
right,
explicitly mentions Israel.
right.
So
I got you. And I mean, I agree with that. I think that's great to pray for peace for, like I said, everybody. But like, if we're gonna say, oh, we should pray for Jerusalem to know peace, because that's been a city
yeah,
that's dealt with a lot of turmoil throughout centuries, and it's like that's cool. I get that. Um,
yeah,
but I don't think that you can make any argument that we need to be sending them anything other than thoughts and prayers. I know that's kind of a
yeah.
meme, but like, yeah, no, literally,
No,
thoughts and
totally get that.
prayers are the only thing we should be sending them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I guess my overall answer to your question was like, I have a lot of respect for Israel, mainly for the history, and not to
Mhm.
mention that's where my Lord traveled on
Right.
Earth. But like, but as American, I definitely think we should focus on our own problems before we worry about the other nations. Maybe worry about Canada and Mexico just because those are our border nations.
Ooh,
Like,
you invoking the Monroe Doctrine? Oh, I love that.
yeah, what I mean by that is like we're not putting all of our finances and resources in Mexico, but like, I mean, they're right next to us, and the cartels are from Mexico, so like, and right, am I right in saying that?
You
Is
are
it from
correct,
Mexico?
100% there. Well, there's some
Yeah,
from Mexico, there's some from Central, and there's some from South America.
yeah.
So
So
there's a
it's
lot.
just yeah, but like I'm not saying like putting all of our finances or resources. Like if there's refugees, I can understand like a temporary thing, but we don't need to right now because we're dealing with immigration issues. And then um, and then uh, and in Mexico, we need to protect ourselves from uh, drug crime wars. You know what I mean?
Beautifully said.
So yeah, but ultimately, I think we should focus on issues with here in the nations, which immigration is a big one. I think
Mhm.
abortion, personally, is a really big one, and then the LGBT, the insert letters
The
group.
Alphabet Squad.
Yeah, pretty much. So like, I feel like those issues need to be addressed first before we can actually really consider helping out other nations.
I mean, I'm on board with all of those, but personally, I feel like we should be dealing with domestic, like, trying to fix the Fed, um, trying to pay down debt, trying to, improve the prices on everything. Which, I mean, I guess kind of starts with gas, because, when
Oh yeah,
gas is up, everything kind of goes up. Um, but yeah, no, I think honestly, I would take it a step further personally. I don't think that we should be giving money to anyone for any reason. If there's a
yeah.
charity that wants to go
One
out
second.
and like, okay,
Hey, give me 1 second, Ultra.
sure.
Sorry, I had to. Sorry, I had to plug up my battery. It was getting close to death.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
important to hear.
yeah, exactly. Anyways, as you were saying,
Um, like if some charity wants to go out and like build a well in Africa, that's great. That's great. Give your
mm,
money to that. But
right?
then again, I also want to preface: do it because you want to do it. Don't do it because you feel forced to do it. Because believe Paul says that we should not give under compulsion.
Yeah.
And that's why another thing people are like, well, aren't taxes a good thing? Isn't that very like Christian, to do that? And it's like, no, it's not, because that's theft. It's
Yeah.
theft.
Right.
If it was
However,
a good and Christian thing, you would be just, like giving over the money willingly. If you don't give over that money for like these tax programs that you may or may not agree with, you go to jail. Unless you're Ilhan Omar, in which case,
Yeah. I do want to say, however, like, yes, I agree with that. Jesus still does command us to give to Caesar what's to Caesar, to God what's to God. So, I mean, because it is law, we have to pay our taxes, even though it's awful.
Even though it's theft.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But unfortunately, that's our government, and God placed our government as the authority.
It's true.
So we need, and unless they tell us to send, we need to honor and respect them.
That is true.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. Definitely pay your taxes, because, like, again, I don't want to send you to jail, or I guess I wouldn't be sending you to jail, but I don't want you to go to jail because, you don't pay your taxes. But,
right.
Well, I mean, unless you're Ilhan Omar, in which case you should probably go to jail for a few things, but, yeah, again, you gotta pay it, but it is theft, It's essentially extortion.
Yeah. Agreed.
No different from the mob, except for the mob tries to act like, or doesn't try to act like they're doing it in your best interest.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think as Christians, the only thing important about Israel is, of course, all of the holy sites, and that's pretty much it, really.
So there's one thing, another thing. Wait, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So one thing too is like, yes, I'm an American, and we're American. Well, us two are Americans. I don't know about people watching, but like, yes, we're Americans, and I'm proud to be American for sure. But I'm ultimately a citizen of God in heaven. So like, if you are called to go to other nations, do it, of course.
Right.
So yeah, it's just like it, but that's like individual. That's not the government's job. It's really the church's job.
Right.
To help and serve others.
This wasn't on the itinerary that I sent you, but I feel like this is something I want to talk to you about, and I feel like you should have like a lot to say about this. Maybe I'm mistaken, just because I know you're very different to Steve, to G and to Slicks, who just kind of come on the show, and I've also got Blake. I'm trying to get on the show too, and they just kind of want to come on here. We shoot the shit or whatever. But you're very different to that. You wanna have like everything all lined up and make sure that you have the correct facts and everything. And I think that's great. But so
yeah.
I don't know if you necessarily would want to speak to this or not, just given the fact that you haven't looked into it, and I didn't tell you about this beforehand, but there is a giant failing with the church as a whole. Like it's really sad, and it's especially in America. It's really sad, and it's quite disgusting, really. Because like, instead of doing things that the church should be doing, and of course I know that like there's gonna be exceptions to this rule, and I believe the one that G and I mean, I guess G physically attends, I virtually attend. I do believe, from everything that I've heard that would be an exception to the rule here that I'm going to say, but so many of them do not care. Um,
Yeah.
they actually start churches to make money, which is
Yeah.
sickening, actually.
Yeah.
And instead of going through and because we have a lot of problems here in the States. We've got homelessness, which is crazy. We've got like rampant drug use. We've got like all of these cities that are basically zombies now because of like vent and shit like that.
Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
instead, and we've also got people who just they're a little bit behind on rent, and they just need a little bit of money. And I feel like the church should be prioritizing these people, like really trying to actually help instead of giving, at best, lip service. Like they should be instead of getting that Rolls Royce, that Lamborghini, and
Right.
wearing like a Dior. Is that how you say it? Whatever.
Uh,
Designer clothes. It doesn't matter. Like fancy, designer clothes and shoes and wearing chains and all of this shit. Um, why don't you live modestly and put all of that money into building like a homeless shelter and like trying to
right.
actually help these people? I know some do, but on the whole, they don't. If every church did their job, we wouldn't have homelessness. We
Right.
wouldn't have hungry people. Um, and
Yeah.
you've got like a great example of this, and I know you'll love me saying this, is Kenneth Copeland. Like he's just such a great example. But you've also got people who are kind of like preaching in a correct fashion, who also like do that similar shit where they walk out on stage with their like $500 shirt on, and all this fancy jewelry, and it's like, where the fuck are you? Why aren't you helping these people?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely tough, and yes, Kenneth Copeland is pretty a demonic person. Like
Mm-hmm.
I despise Kenneth Copeland. I despise his ministry and all that stuff. The thing about when it comes to money and church is always a very tricky subject. So the way I look at it is, how, like, the where the Bible talks about that we are different parts of the body, but we're like one church.
Yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I think of like individual churches being similar to that
Mm.
in a way. So like I won't mention the church, but the church I grew up at, it's a um not in a negative context. It is technically a mega church. Like
Mm.
it seats 3,000 people, I think, if I remember correctly. But like
Wow.
in terms of size, it is that way. But it's far from the mega churches that are just awful, right?
Right,
So
right. The ones
th-
that everybody
there's
pictures, like Joel Osteen and company.
yeah, right, right. But so like when I think about when it comes to money in church, I think what the way the church spends it needs to have a purpose.
Mm.
So the area that this church I'm talking about, there's a college near that area. There's a lot of young adults in that area. So like while while music and lights and stuff like that, a nice sanctuary doesn't really matter, but like it could help bring people, uh, make people interested.
Sure.
And then, but the pastor at that church, yeah, and to this day, he still preaches with conviction and preaches very biblical, solid truth. So like people are getting inside this service and then um are still hearing the truth. So I think that's a very valid purpose of that church. Or as my church, um, we have a lot of retired people in our church. I would say at least half of our congregation are senior adults that are retired and probably have a lot of retirement fund. Um, so they, so our church is able to give to like missionaries, and we're a smaller church, but we give a lot of money to like missionaries. We, I don't know if it's a chain location, so I'm not going to say the name, but it's a pregnancy center that a Christian focused pregnancy center that can help uh, girls to choose life and stuff like
That's
that. We
nice.
give a lot of money to that. So I think at the end of the day, like when it comes to churches spending their money, it really needs to have a purpose, and the purpose needs to be focused on the gospel. So yeah. So people watching, I encourage you to give to the church. And another thing too is like your pastors, the job doesn't really pay well that much, to be completely
Depends.
honest with you, because it depends, but well, biblical believing church pastors don't get paid that well is is probably what I should have said there. But
Hmm.
they unfortunately have to rely on the congregation. But we as Christians, we should be cheerful. I think we should be cheerful givers, and the Bible even
100%.
commands
Yeah.
us to be. Yeah. So and by the way, it doesn't have to be 10%. That's some kind of Old Testament thing that was happening. That the actual 10% thing, we can go in detail some other time, but it could be anything. Like if you are struggling, you can give 1% of your finances, or maybe you set aside and pay once a month, like a small portion once a month. I think
Hmm.
of that widow that Jesus is talking about. I think it was in Matthew. Funny enough, so like the Pharisees were all having these bags full of money, and they were like, "Well, look at me, I'm giving all this money to God and stuff like that." Um, and then some widow, um, basically has 2 coins, and I think it's like less than a day's wage, or the exact days, or or equivalent to like 2 pennies or whatever.
Yeah.
But she graciously gave it to God, all she had, and God smiled on her rather than the Pharisees. So like even if you just give $1 because that's all you can afford, God's gonna smile at that, especially if you're willing to give. So
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm actually glad that you brought that up. Because I feel like you always hear money, 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 but I feel like the church should be a bit more flexible with what you give, because, like I was saying, you got someone who, they just might be a little low on money, and they're hungry, and it's like, I mean, I guess you could give them money, but also, like, let's say I'm a really good cook. I may not be super rich, but I can make a mean lasagna or something. Like,
point.
you know, I feel like food, and like if someone's got extra blankets or something, you give that to the church. And I mean, maybe some places do that, but you always hear money, and it's like there's so many other things that I feel like the church should be like, yeah, give us this, so that way we can give it to this person, who needs it.
Right.
Um, or like even like what
So
I was saying with the whole homeless shelter thing, like they might need like old pillows or blankets or like mattresses or whatever, just so that people
yeah,
have something to sleep on.
yeah. And by the way, for those watching, if you want to serve in those communities in some way, talk to your pastor. There's a
Yes.
chance that there's a chance that he may know some places that you can visit and stuff like that. So yeah,
I would also
so
say if
yeah,
he
no,
doesn't know, where you should go, I would be very concerned.
I'm sorry.
I said I would also say that if he doesn't have any places for you or doesn't know anything about that, I would be very concerned.
I agree. I agree with that. Or I will say, like, if you put him in a spot, like they say, let me get back to you on that. Let me check some stuff because they may just forgot the name of something
Yeah,
or
that's fair. That's fair.
yeah. So like yeah, like don't if they say like I don't have anything right now, but let me get back to you on that. That's a great sign. That's still a good sign because like they're also taking the time to research or remember what they are thinking of. Because besides, like I mean, if it's a great church, there's probably a lot of ministries that they're paying, and so they need a minute to think of what would be a best place for me to go.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're scrawny, not really much like an indoor person like myself, I don't think the pastor is going to send you to a construction site. but it may
Maybe put
be
them some
something to
meat
do
on
with
them
home
bones.
nursing. But it may be something where it's like go to your local nursing home. It's like,
Right.
oh, we actually are supporting this nursing home for the elderly. We actually could use some help with that, and they would probably love to chat with you and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how much just talking with someone can really like make their day or help them.
Exactly. So there's so many things you can do, and ultimately, just ask God. You know, let God lead you to where you want to go.
Yeah,
But
it's
but
always good advice.
I
Ask
will
God about
say do
everything.
something.
Right.
Well, yeah. So, anyways, but that's kind of like my thought process about when it comes to church and money. It's definitely a really tough topic. But now, but as you mentioned earlier, Kenneth Copeland, if your pastor is buying a private jet, that's probably not a church you should be giving to.
Right. Or I would say if your pastor has very fancy designer clothes,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
but
like
I mean, there's like so a couple years ago, my pastor's house got on fire. And he lost like everything,
oh
and
wow,
so like, of course, that would be a perfect opportunity to give your pastor something.
100%.
Like, yeah, like people like I know some people went to Kohl's and like bought really nice clothes because my pastor didn't have a suit because it was burnt down. So like she was able to buy him a suit so that he could preach in it that Sunday and stuff like that. That was a really hard week and stuff like that. But like,
I imagine.
yeah, so like that's not to say don't ever give to your pastor. You
Right,
should give to your
right,
pastor.
right.
Yeah, they probably have one of the hardest jobs.
Yeah, I was going to say if your pastor is doing his job right, he's going to be a very stressed man. So
Oh yeah, for
definitely be
sure.
very nice to him and help him out however you can. In the same way, help him in the same way that you want him and have seen him help others.
Exactly. And that's why I love my church so much. Well, my church is a very hospitable church, and but my pastor, he really serves a lot. I One of the things that made me admire him a lot is that if the volunteer is not able to clean the bathrooms that week, he actually himself scrubs the toilet.
Wow, that's dedication there.
Yeah. So, but now he doesn't have to do that anymore because we got more people, and there are like more staff and stuff like that. But like back then, it was just him and the secretary as the only full time staff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was talking about. Well, I suppose G was more so, but I definitely want to. G was talking about me coming up for his birthday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta go ahead, of course, and I feel like that's going to be my biggest thing. Is I need to know how long it's going to take me to get up there, and how long it's going
Right.
to take me to get back, and how long I want to stay there, so I can request off the correct amount of time.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that. Besides, I want to get something cool for G when I go up, of course, because it's his birthday, but also just because he's probably my first sub, if not the
Oh,
second
that's cool.
sub. Yeah. So I definitely want to get him something pretty cool when I go up there, but I also want to go ahead and see if I can swing by the church and drop off something there. I've never actually given money to a church before,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I feel like I'd like to support one. I more so kind of, like I said, my version of giving in the name of Jesus is kind of like if someone comes over, like a homeless person comes over and is hungry, like I'll go ahead and give them like some food or whatever, like food I've got on me. And that's kind
Yeah.
of what I do. Because I hate giving homeless people money because I used to work at a warehouse in kind of not the greatest side of town, and there was a railroad track that was right behind the warehouse, and there's like a chain link fence, right? Almost kind of like
Hmm.
by where a window would be. Um, and homeless people would just sit there all the time, and they'd have their sign out there like hungry, need money or whatever, and like they just bought beer and smokes with it and drugs, and
Yeah.
we actually saw a few times people would go out there and would give them like sandwiches and shit, and they would just throw the sandwich away. Um,
Yeah.
so that like kind of black pilled me on that. It's like, oh, so now I know
Yeah.
I'm never giving a homeless person money ever again. Not that I
Yeah.
ever
That.
did, but like I'll never do that now. But that's why I say I'll give them food because they
Yeah.
can throw it out, and it's like, okay, it's not my problem if they throw it out. That's their choice.
Yeah.
But I'm also
Yeah.
not
We can only do so much
right.
to
I'm
show
right. I'm
kindness.
exactly, and I'm not encouraging their alcoholism or other vices. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's definitely very tough.
mm,
Um. Yeah. Because like in one hand, like you want to help them, like you hate seeing them struggle, but on the other hand, it's
they want
in
to.
most cases, not all cases, but like
Mm,
most cases, is by their choice
right.
that they're homeless.
Yeah, and
And
also if sorry, just real quick, I want to just jump in, and then you can go ahead and take it away. If you don't
yeah.
believe Steven when he says that the majority of homeless people want to be homeless, go watch any Tyler Oliveira episode where he goes out and interviews homeless people. Watch any single one of them, and almost every single person he talks to, he'll ask, "Do you want to go into the shelter or whatever?" And they go, "No, because I'd have to stop doing drugs if I went in there."
Yeah. So it's really sad.
Mm.
So and stuff like that. And I hope and pray that there'll be change in there and stuff like that. So
Mm.
yeah. Um, I had another thought, but I'm trying to remember it.
Okay, well, while you're thinking about it, I do just want to go ahead and like reiterate that it is a failing of the church why we have so many people like that, like you just described, that want to be on the street because they're addicted to drugs, and that's because there's like a mental health crisis, and these people who have mental health issues will naturally find their way onto the streets because we don't really have a great system for that. But if there was like
Hmm.
a church out there, and like I said, I'm sure there are quite a few churches that are like that, just it's not the majority of them that are out there trying to help these people, I guarantee you that we would see less people getting addicted to those drugs and like wanting to be on the street, because they would be, caught essentially. They would be caught by them before they got to the point where they were like, I'm gonna just start using drugs or whatever, or have horrible things happen to me, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start doing drugs. Like,
it's
like a
big
prevention
part of
thing.
it. Big part of it is that for sure the church, but another thing that a lot of people forget is it also starts with the home too.
True. Very
Like,
true.
yeah, yeah. So like, I think it is vital that every family should have a father or mother, if possible.
100%.
I know some certain circumstances are very different, and people that have had like horrible parents. I do very much sympathize with that. I'm sorry you have to go through all that, right? But even then, like you can find someone at church that you can look up to that can act like a parent, like a spiritual parent. Like so, like Paul never had kids, and Timothy was. There was no mention of his dad, but Paul was like a spiritual father, and Paul even calls Timothy his spiritual son a few times in there, so and stuff like that. So like I think it is very vital because it says in Proverbs 22:6, train your child the way he should go, so that when he's old he will not depart from it. Yeah. And stuff like that. So like I do think we need to like church needs to focus. It really needs to start focus on the family. Like the church needs to focus on the family, so that the family can glorify God by doing these things.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, 100%. 100%. I agree with that all the way. Yeah, strong families produce, strong people, and, strong people stay the course.
Right. I mean, I know I wouldn't be here who I am today if it weren't for my parents. Well, ultimately Christ, but like also because of my parents.
Yeah, and also, I do kind of want to amend that statement I just made. Sometimes you do have strong families, but, people are people and they're going to choose to do what they want to do. So, I mean,
right.
You can do your best, and sometimes it still doesn't happen the way that you want it to happen. And,
right.
I mean, the best you can hope for is that the things that you taught them while they were young will, come back to them when they're older, and they'll see the error of their ways.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is like the story of the prodigal son.
Yes.
Where and like
but
during that moment where I'm sorry.
I said, do you want to tell it real quick, just to like
Oh yeah, sure. So it's so father had two sons, and one of the sons basically asked the younger son, asked him, "Hey, can I go ahead and get my inheritance so I can move out of this country?" And the father was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And then he blew all of his money away. And when he realized he was broke, he started eating the slop that the pigs eat, as he's feeding the pigs, so like that, because he had no money left. And then he realized, and this is the point I was going to make with the story, that he remembered as like, my father will at least, if my father treats his servants very well, so at the very least I will be treated well, even if I don't be considered his son. I'll still go in there and beg him to be his servant, because I know he treats his servants well. So like so even in his mind he knows what kind of man his father was, and his father had good integrity. So like enough for him to go back to his father, and then his father was so excited, and there was like a whole party and all that stuff. Like he actually ran to embrace his son, stuff like that. Obviously, this
Right.
is more the parable is more talking about us as lost people and then coming to Christ, the Father being God, and us being the prodigal son. But like, I think that's also a like something too. Is like, um, so a lot of you guys know that my two of my siblings have walked away from God, and I'm hoping that one day they'll become the prodigal son and realize how good my parents were to them, and that they'll run back to us, basically.
No.
Yeah. So, so even if you teach them everything you could and they still walk away, um, you may not think it, but they'll remember your teachings, and it'll be ingrained in their brain, and then hopefully one day they'll decide to listen to that and come back.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
again, God's in control. The best you can do is just hope for the best outcome.
yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, trust the plan. Uh, yeah. So, this is just going to be a pretty short one. So, I was super excited. Well, we talked about this earlier on another podcast about how the South is redistricting because the second section of the Voter Rights Act was stricken down for being obscenely racist because it basically said that, oh, you have to draw congressional districts by race, and it's like that's not the way that your society should be run. Like, I understand why they did it in like almost 100 years ago. I understand why they did it, but 100 years later, no, we should not be drawing congressional districts by race. It should just be by, land mass, and it should be nice square boxes. So a lot of
So
states.
I'm a little.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
I'm a little lost on this. So, like, what's this whole districting thing? I'm a little confused on that.
So, Jamie, can you pull this up for me real quick? We'll use my home state as an example. So we've got. Oh, there's Matt Gaetz. Hey, Matt Gaetz. All right.
Hey, Ultra Grayson, essentially, you say that you're quiet.
He always says I'm quiet. But you see, and I even put the thing closer to me. And it sounded good last night. I can go ahead and try to like adjust this a little bit, but there's no way to make it louder. And not that I know of, at least.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Alright, I can do that. But I'm just putting the mic closer to me. I don't want to get rid of the pop guard, which is what I think makes it a bit quieter. Because if I do a or a shh, I want it to, get covered up.
He asked if you were on OBS.
What? No. Literally, all it is just my microphone hooked up to my Focusrite system.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know any technical things. I was just reading your chat.
I gotcha. I have mine minimized right now because I wanted to take a look at the things that I sent you so I can actually,
I gotcha.
get it correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is the old map, but fuck it, whatever. So you've got each of these. If you're taking a look at the thing right now, it might take a second to pop up. Oh no, I'm on it. So like this would be a district. This is a district. This is a district right here, and it's all kind of cut up. And you see how, for the most part, I mean, I guess not really. a little bit. There's some weird, funky things going on, but
Like weird shapes and stuff.
yeah, weird shapes. Those are typically bad maps if it's a weird shape. Um,
It's like a one big jigsaw puzzle.
right. That's not the way you should do it. Um,
So you're saying that it should be like based on like landmass or something like that?
so it should
So
just be
the
done in a way that like makes sense to where like people of an area kind of have their representation, and it should also be done in a nice, clean box.
yeah,
Like I think this is no, that's not the new one either.
I think
What
the
the hell is that? Like where is it? Like we've seen this map like everywhere, and now just all of a sudden it doesn't just you can't find it anymore. I guess. But anyway, you want it in boxes. Anyway, regardless, it doesn't matter. We'll just go ahead and we'll just use this. So like, each of these is a congressional district, right? So this is the old map, and Florida went in and redid it and cut out a bunch of Democrat seats, and the map looks way better and makes more sense for an R plus
yeah
20 state. So
yeah I see that.
some of them look kind of funky. In the South, let me go ahead and find Louisiana. Yeah, here we go. This is it. This is a great one. So this was their old map, and the Voter Rights Act Section 2 basically allowed for this monstrosity of a map.
Yeah, that's a weird.
Right.
That's a weird
Now they
puzzle.
half-assed it,
Yeah,
and instead of like going through and actually making nice clean boxes, which would have made the state again another R plus 20 state completely red, they decided to be pathetic and give this little weird DEI district here to the Democrats. But yeah, so that's basically the gist. That's the whole districting, and each one of those has a each one of these districts has a congressman, right? So you've got the
yeah,
4th district here has a congressman, 5th has a congressman, 6th has a congressman, 3rd, 1st, etc., etc. So Georgia has gone through, and I was super excited. I thought that Georgia was gonna do it right, but they instead decided to be a bunch of Sorry, I'm just now reading G's messages. Well, I'm glad that you're here, G. Yeah, hopefully you'll make it next time. It'll be cool. But yeah, I thought they were gonna go the full way, but they decided to be a little bit of pussies. And they're not gonna redistrict, and well, it's not gonna take effect until 2028.
oof.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
disappointing. They said they were gonna do it, and I was like, oh yeah, way to go. And then they're like, yeah, but it won't take effect till 2028. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know how you feel about the Georgia GOP, but I think they're very limp-wristed and pathetic.
yeah. For me, I'm just tired of constructions because we have a lot of constructions up here. So I'm saying that it's just that takes years. That like multiple years. So I'm ready for that to be done.
Okay. All right.
So also, I honestly want to carve out Atlanta and just like shove it in California.
Yeah. Trust me. Everyone from Florida is thinking the same thing. Yeah. That's some wild stuff. That's some wild stuff. Even Orlando isn't that bad. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty blue. We're actually one of the only blue dots left in the Florida congressional map. And it's to my great shame. But even down here, it's like, for it being a blue dot, it's still like pretty red.
Yeah,
You know, like they'll vote Democrat, but it's like, you don't see like drug addicts like sprawled out on the floor and like craziness going on, and we've got law and order. I think that's mainly because Ron DeSantis would never allow any crazy Atlanta like California bullshit in his state of Florida, which is why we love the governor.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah. That's why I like to live like far away from Atlanta, like north of Georgia.
mm-hmm. Oh, North
Yeah.
Georgia's pretty. It's a really pretty state.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Or,
and it's not too far from like Tennessee and
mm,
like Kentucky and some of the other southern states. So it's like it's nice. Like I live towards like northeast, so like South Carolina is like 2 hours away
oh,
from
kind of
me.
kind of by the Blue Ridge area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's
pretty much.
yeah. No, I love that area. There's a town. I don't know if you've heard of it before called Ellijay. And Ellijay
Yes,
is, yes, I love that town. It is gorgeous.
I I have a really close friend that loves LJ. But I've never been there myself. I'm not much of a traveler. I did go to Helen a lot. I don't know if you've heard of it. Helen.
Helena, is that the one that it's got the little German town?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I've been there. That place is really cool too. They've got a great
Yeah.
burger place called Big Daddy's.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been that one. We try not to spend a lot of money on there.
Fair enough. It's
We
easy to do.
we yeah. It's like we'll go to the fudge shop and get like fudge, like sample fudge.
Oh, is it
Like
the
honestly,
Three
I'm sorry.
Sisters fudge? Is it Three Sisters fudge?
I think so, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. But yeah, honestly, like usually, the only thing we'll ever buy is like the Wendy's there because it's like the cheapest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Wendy's, so like I wasn't too mad about that. But like they have this magic shop that was really cool. I used to go a lot, but before they shut it down.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't remember the magic shop, so
Yeah,
maybe it was gone before I went.
yeah, it makes sense, and it was hard to get to as well. It was like across the street from Wendy's, like a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit down that hill. The putt putt's still there, I think. Unfortunately, the bear sanctuary closed down. Where you get to see the bears and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see that's the thing is I feel like in the South it's not really all that crazy to see a bear.
Well, that's fair, but it's like you can get bears to do tricks and stuff like that. You can
Oh,
see like baby bears that are adorable that you want to take home and become your stuffed animal
yeah, until
before we.
the mom mauls you to death for touching the baby.
Right. So there was an interesting place. I never did it, but like apparently you can pay money to play video games for a certain amount of time in Helen.
What? Huh?
Yeah, it's like I think it was like what $15 an hour or something like that, which is incredibly dumb.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like I just saw a video game. I was like, oh, I'm interested. I let you inside and saw what it is. I was like, this is dumb. I can do this for free.
Yeah, that does sound pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Especially with
So,
like the
anyways,
nature around there and everything. Like, I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't been there. I haven't been up there in a while. I need to plan to go there sometime. Well, I need to get
Yeah.
healthy so I can walk without losing breath easy.
I'd love to go back. I haven't been in a really long time, but
Yeah,
I love that. I love that place. It's amazing.
yeah. Well, maybe we can plan a day to go up there, like whenever you come up.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I like the rafting around that area too.
the what?
The rafting?
Oh yeah, the tubing.
No, 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 not tubing, rafting, where you get in like the boat, like the inflatable raft, and you like paddle your way down the river.
Well, yeah, yeah, tubing. Well, okay, we
That's
call it
it.
tubing, but I guess yeah. e- Growing up, we call it tubing. Yeah, I guess I realized later that it was kind of dumb, but growing up, we called it tubing.
Yeah, no,
But yeah, no.
this here is rafting, and then tubing
Oh no,
is
wait, I didn't. Okay, no, we didn't do that. But it's like the little inflatable tubes, and we just like lazy river.
yeah. This is tubing here.
Tubing a lot. Yeah, yeah. That's basically what he did.
Yeah, no, the one I'm talking about is this one here.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. It's raining over here, and I'm hearing water, and we're talking about tubing. I was like, you click on the river. I was like, and all of a sudden there's this downpour. I was like, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I don't think I
you've
would
never
be
done this
nervous to
before.
do that. No, I would be too nervous because, well, one, I would for sure have to take off my processor because I don't want it flying out.
Well, I
So
mean,
I
okay, you know
can
what?
technically, yeah, I would be too scared being deaf, doing all that.
I
Like,
gotcha.
yeah. So,
I'm not gonna lie to you and say that you wouldn't fly out because there was one time that I went rafting and I hit our boat hit a rock and it's like one of those crash test dummies that you see where they just fly out the windshield. That was me, but flying out of the raft into the water. And like
oof.
I didn't even realize what was happening until I hit the water, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And of course, it's cold as fuck too, so you're freaking out and
Yeah,
everything. It was
yeah.
fun
I
though.
know
It was fun.
my processor will for sure fly off because I've kneed myself before and so hard that my processor came off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's something
Just
I
get some
used to do
duct
as a
tape.
kid because that was funny. I would hit myself on the head with my knee because it was so fun because I would do it so hard that my processor would come off. But I was
Yeah,
younger.
yeah. I could see that. I could see that being a problem. And
Yeah,
I
so
don't feel like you not going with your processor would be a good idea. I feel like that would be pretty bad.
yeah. See, like the tubing made more sense because it's like I can be deaf there because it's not as dangerous, right? And
Depends.
my family would get well, but I mean they have guides that usually sit in the back. So like worst case, if something happens, they'll notice. But
Mm.
also the way we do it is that we have like ropes connected to the tubes,
Okay, I
so
got you.
that way my family's together and stuff like that. So and honestly, even though I would be deaf, I'm very when I'm deaf, I am like extremely focused because I kind of have to be.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm
would
saying?
right. I would imagine it's like one of those like you lose one sense, your other ones get sharper, kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's my nose. I have a
Huh.
very strong sense of smell.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Got that daredevil nose.
yeah, pretty much. It feels like I get punched every time I walk into a piece of place. So
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Um Let's see here. Do you want to talk about abortion a little bit?
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you've been excited. You've been itching to talk about abortion for a while, so.
yeah. So yeah, it's really great excitement I get to talk about it, but it's also sadness that even have to talk about it at the same
Right,
time.
agreed.
Yeah. So abortion, I think, is a major issue here in the states. Uh, it is probably the most legal, heinous legal action that anybody can do here is abortion. Abortion is goes very much against God, and because life begins at conception, and um, and in Genesis, one of the first ordinance of law after the flood, God literally says, basically, if you take a life, your life should be taken. Like God very much values life. And I just been hearing a lot of this little like these debates and stuff like that, but like about how like abortion is actually really good because for plethora of reasons. I know one thing a lot of people talk about is like rape, incest, and the life of the mother, but that's literally just like 2% of
I
all
don't
the
even think it's
abortions.
2%. I think it's less than that, actually. I feel like you're being
Yeah,
very generous.
yeah. I just recently I heard 2%, but it may be different. But but like the other 98, not 99% of abortions are because you made a mistake as a teenager and didn't want to accept responsibility, or you feel like you don't have enough money, so you don't want responsibility, or you don't want to raise a Down syndrome people and don't want to deal with that responsibility. Uh, so, and even then, like I do sympathize people that are rape victims and incest victims, but to me, that's still not even a good reason to end the life, and even the life of the mother. That here you can actually make a case for that. Like I can understand that, but still, it's literally it's still destroying a life.
Hmm.
See, like I would love it to where we could illegalize abortion if we can get to uh illegal make abortion illegal with the exception of those three things. I'll be happy because that's like the majority of all abortions. And I would still fight for the other smaller percentage and stuff like that.
That
But
that's a very fair take. I feel like a lot of the, and I'm just gonna be honest, a lot of the leftists, because those are the people that love abortion. You never really hear anyone on the
right,
right being like, "Oh, it's so great and wonderful." It's only really the left who says that. I
mm,
feel like even the left would have to say, like, for someone as Christian as you are to come out and say, for those three things, that's, abortion is fine, but in all other cases, no. I feel like even they would have to say, like, that's pretty, like, at least nuanced of you.
I do want to be clear. I still think it's wrong to do abortion in
Right.
any circumstances, but like if I can actually try to save as many babies as I can, I would be willing to do that. And as far as the life of the mother thing, first of all, that's like 0.3% of of abortions, and it's like, and even then, like the actual life of the mother being the issue is even lower. Like it's so low. It's like almost it's barely any assistance. But
Right. In
but
most cases where they say that, a C-section would work and the
but
mother would live.
yeah, because like I think it's either 23 or 24 weeks. I think that's like the earliest that they can do a C-section and stuff like that, and that's before you it gets to really big and showing too. So like if you do it with the intent of to save the baby and the mother at the same time, I think that's acceptable.
Mm.
If the mother's life is actually in danger.
All right.
So it's just I'm just tired of hearing excuses with abortion. It's heinous, it's evil, um, and stuff like that. I was in preparation because I knew I was going to be talking about this tonight. I wanted to listen to a couple podcasts. There was a former abortionist doctor and who committed I think just under 1,200 abortions, and he in an interview he eventually came to know Christ as his Lord and Savior. Praise God. But like he said, the guilt of doing all these abortions all these years, it really did eat him up, and stuff like that. And there was another abortionist doctor that I listened to, and she talked about like her last abortion um, is all of a sudden she just felt evil, like something there was something dark, almost supernatural in that room, and she's like, and then immediately she just knew what she was doing was wrong. But fortunately, once you start an abortion, you can't stop. Like legally, you can't stop.
Mm.
So unfortunately, she still went through it, but she was like, "This is the last abortion. I'm never doing it again." And she too accepted Christ as her Lord and Savior. You know, it was crazy. Like even the founder of like Planned Parenthood um, went to to see what the abortion was like one day and saw how heinous it was, and she broke down in tears, saying, "What have I done?" Stuff like that. And by the
Mm.
way,
The only
I'm
thing I'm
sorry.
going to say about that is I don't know if she really cared that much. And here's
Well,
why.
this is late in her life, though.
Well, but also, do you know why she started Planned Parenthood? This is the thing nobody
Because
likes to talk about with abortion and all of that is the reason she wanted to start Planned Parenthood was so that she could eliminate poor whites and minorities. That
she can
that was
what?
her that was her stated goal
I didn't hear that. What
was
did you
to
say?
eliminate as many poor whites and minorities as possible.
Yeah, but like
It's
I'll
just
have to do my own
eugenics.
research. I'll have to do my own research on that. But like, if I'm not mistaken, late in her life, like towards the end of her life, she repented of all that and regretted it. But I'll have to look at it because it's been years since I saw that. Remember reading that, but I think that's what happened, if I'm not mistaken. But I have to research it. But the
Okay.
point is, but I mean, back to the point, like, and I think so. I do want to share some of the. Um, are you okay with like graphic stuff,
Go
Ultra?
for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's okay. You want to get queasy or whatever, but so like, and the reason why I share this is just because I want people to know how evil it is. So so there are there's other abortions, but there are three main ones that are not just the day after pill. Um, but so like there's the abortion that is common for first trimester. It's the suction method where they would stick a catheter to um, the woman's private part to go up there to the womb to basically suck the baby out. Um, and the thing is like the baby's flesh and limbs will obviously get torn by that because it's done with a lot of force. And what's even sad is like they would after that they would take baby out, and they would put the pieces back together to make sure that the whole baby was out, like the whole puzzle piece. The second trimester um, is this is a trigger warning for people watching for gore and stuff. But like what they would do is they would take forceps into the vagina to what and the baby's bones during the second trimester were still soft, so it's actually easy to pull the limbs out, and that's what they do. And since the baby can't fit through like catheter anymore, that was the only other option for abortion besides not doing an abortion to begin with. They would tear the limbs off and the body off, and the only way to get the head out is that they would crush the skull to pull it out, and then after that they put the pieces back together. And then the third trimester, what they do is they give, because they do it by C-section, and this is what's really twisted, because in third trimester the baby can actually have a chance to live if you remove it out of the womb, which is even crazy to me. But because they want it dead, before taking it out, what they give the baby is this medicine that's used for heart patients. And this particular medicine, even a small dose of that medicine, is very painful for heart patients because it makes them nauseous, dizzy. You might still experience chest pains and stuff like that. But on the baby, it burns the baby, and for 24 hours. And if the baby isn't dead, they do it again until the baby is dead, and then they remove it in C-section. If that doesn't show you how evil this abortion is, you can't really have a conversation with me. You're just as evil. If you think this is right, there's no better. So, well, the reason why I want to fight against abortion, well, obviously, I want more people to speak up against abortion, and like, I'm not saying go in the streets and protest and like destroy and tear down the Planned Parenthood buildings, but like talk about it online, talk with your friends. If you know someone that's expecting and is considering abortion, love it, and let me be clear on this: lovingly tell the mother why it's wrong, and provide her with resources, because there's a lot of great resources that you can go through, and there's also a lot of people that are waiting, like people that are infertile, that are waiting for adoption to adopt a child. If you just hold this child for 9 months, you don't even have to worry about the child. You can give them up for adoption, because that is very much an option that you could choose, and stuff like that. There is some support. So if there's anybody watching that is expecting, look, find a church that actually cares. You may not get it right the first time with church, and just go to a different church after if it doesn't do it right. But like, well, churches will have resources for you and your baby to go through. So I implore you to not commit abortion, because that child is very valuable to God, and also you are very valuable to God. And if you trust in the Lord, He'll take care of you. And again, there are churches and there are resources that can help you get started if you don't have a support system in your life, stuff like that.
Yeah, something else that you left out is talk to your congressmen, talk to your senators, talk to your state representatives, like within the state house and the state senate. Talk to your governor.
Mhm.
Yeah, because these are the people that have the power to actually make things move and to hopefully make it illegal.
Yeah.
Um, I
So
do genuinely think in like maybe 50 to 100 years, we will look back on this and think, holy shit, what the fuck? How did they allow this to happen? Like, we're going to look at abortion the way that we look at like lobotomies right now.
mhm.
Like, or probably even more accurately, the way that we look at the Holocaust. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great
because
comparison.
there's a lot of similarities there. I've also heard some stories where the baby kind of will like try fighting back and like will react to like
Yeah.
all the horrible shit happening to it. And for as
Yeah.
nasty and like as gross and as horrifying as what you were saying was, personally I wasn't too grossed out by it because like I just have a very very uh um amazing skill where I can just hear and say very horrifying and disgusting things, but I don't envision it.
Yeah.
Like my
That's
head is
that's
totally and
fair.
completely blank. And so
Yeah.
like if I'm not envisioning it, if I'm not picturing it, it's not as bad. But I'm very glad that you brought that up because I really do hope that it grosses and disgusts and horrifies a lot of people. Um,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's the
I'm
only
sorry.
way that things are gonna. No, you're good. That's the only way that things are gonna change is if people actually are faced with the horror of what it is.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm also very glad that you brought up give it up for adoption. Uh, Go ahead
Yeah.
and leave it at a fire station. You can do that. You can abandon a baby at a fire station. That no questions asked. Um,
Yeah.
because like even if you're raped and shit, I don't see how that's baby's fault. Like I can understand maybe you don't want to like see it because like it reminds you of a horrific thing, but like it's gonna be look. I hate to say it, but the memory of the rape is gonna be with you probably forever. But the
Yeah.
baby will be with you for like what, 12 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, do the C-section. You'll be fine. Go ahead and
Yeah.
like uh, give it up for adoption, abandon it at a fire station, and then you don't even have to think about it ever again.
I still would encourage anyone watching that's in that scenario to heavily consider getting a child because like I've heard stories about moms that have were conceived through rape and have an amazing story and have a awesome relationship with their kid while making this sad situation more positive because
Right.
you
I'm
get a
I'm just
child.
saying for like the worst case scenario.
Like,
Like you
yeah, yeah, oh
can't, you
yeah,
don't.
oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
I meant
definitely.
to say that. I meant to
No.
say that earlier. I just forgot.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it's just ultimately like just these kids don't deserve it for sure. They are
Right.
the least deserving of being put to death of literally anybody on the planet except for Christ.
Yes. Also, I want to say that there have been more babies killed um, just within the last like 10 years than there were during like the Holocaust, like people killed in the Holocaust. So just keep that
Yeah,
in mind too. Like that's a another horrifying statistic you always hear about. Oh, the birth rate, the birth rate, the birth rate. And it's like, well, I wonder fucking why. Maybe we're missing like a fucking Holocaust's worth of people. Maybe that might have something to do with it.
yeah. So I just looked this up because I was curious. It's really sad. since Roe v. Wade
Mm.
in 1973, an estimated 64 to 66 million abortions have been performed in the USA. 64 to 66 million. That is, let me make sure my math is correct. That is roughly close to 1 million a year, if not in full million, if my math is correct.
Okay, so I just want to go ahead and just to put this into perspective, you said 66 million since 1973.
Yes, 64 to 66. Let's just say 65.
Okay, during the Holocaust, 6 million Jews died.
Yeah.
6 million. That is 10 times the amount of people than the Holocaust.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. It is like the most heinous legal thing that we are able to do here.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So it's just we hear, I mean, it's not that we don't ever talk about it. I know my church talks about it and stuff like that, but like in general I feel like we don't talk about it enough because we're afraid of people of people going against you and stuff like that. Like because it is a very hot topic in this world, but it's sad.
I also just want to point out that during the Great Leap Forward in China, which is one of the largest famines in history, that was, I believe Mao did that. They estimate that between 30 to 45 million people died. That means abortions have killed more people than the Great Leap Forward and the Holocaust put together.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Yeah. Just to put that into perspective for everyone. Because you know, like, saying a big number is like a lot, right? You know, like, you're like, oh well, that's a big number, but then when you actually like give it some kind of context, like more than the Holocaust and the Great Leap Forward put together, more people have died by this. Like, it's mind-blowing, you know?
Yeah. There's something I also want to mention. I feel led to say this.
Go ahead.
If anybody that's watching that had already committed abortion or convinced someone to do it, or maybe you're an abortionist, know that there's grace. That God is willing to forgive all sins and stuff like that. And if you repent, God will wipe that sin away in your life. Now the deed's already been done, right? And you may suffer with guilt and regret, but there is grace in God. You can turn to God. I just want to make sure you say that because I know we talked about the negativity that's abortion, which is very negative. But like, I want to make sure no one watching and thinks that we're condemning you as a person. But like, what you did was wrong. But there is grace that is in Christ Jesus that you can turn to if the deed's already been done. And
right.
Stuff like that.
We're not trying to be the 60s, 70s Southern Baptist fornicator, murderer, you're going to hell.
Right.
Yeah.
So
there is grace. What's done is done, but you can always choose to do better moving forward.
Yeah.
And
by the way, those. Oh, sorry. I keep interrupting you.
No, you're good. You're good, man. It's Discord. It's the delay, so don't ever feel bad about that. But that's kind of the beautiful thing about Christianity. It's not about what you've done. It's about what you continue to do and where you put your faith. Um, and yeah, much like with abortion, it's never too late. Um, you know, you can
Yeah.
always choose not to. You can always give it up for
Mhm.
adoption, and it's never too late for your soul. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then uh, not all of them, but a lot of the resources that I was talking about earlier that help supports mom with unplanned pregnancies, that helps supports the mom and the baby. A lot of those organizations can also support moms that have already committed the deed too. So look into that if you need to see counseling and stuff like that, which I highly recommend doing.
Oh,
Anyways,
I've got a quick question for you. Do you know any of these services that you're
yeah,
referring to by name? Would you like to go ahead and just say them? In case if
yeah.
anyone is listening and does need those.
I know my church does Choices Pregnancy Center. It is a Christian organization that helps mom choose life. Um, I'm trying to remember.
Do you know what kind of services they provide?
Well, I know they give like gift baskets and stuff like that, but they also provide free sonograms because that's something that, like, if you're going to commit, if I highly recommend any mother when you're making a decision, go get an ultrasound and actually see the baby. Um, and the Choices Pregnancy Center, one of the things that they do is they offer free ultrasound so that the mother is going to get a baby. Because study shows that if you see the baby in the womb, you're less likely going to commit abortion because you'll see life
Right.
in that womb. So, and I was going to mention this earlier. So the abortionist doctors that I was listening to today, one of the things that they mentioned is that when they were training on abortion before they make the informed decision, they do not allow them to watch the actual procedure of abortion. They just spend all this time talking about how it's important for the health of the mom and stuff like that, which is a big baloney, but
Hmm.
which is interesting to me.
It
But
makes sense
yeah,
though, because like if they saw it and were like, "Holy
right,
shit, that's what you're doing," no one would want to do it. It makes sense. Um,
right,
and honestly, to go into what I was saying last stream when I was talking about hantavirus and the ticks that bite you, and you can't eat red meat anymore. Uh, Abortion is another one of those globalist bastard things. Um, it helps them out with their whole uh, satanic agenda. Like literally, what could be more satanic than sacrificing babies? Like
yeah. I mean,
that's
it is very satanic.
right. You take a look at it, and like the same players, the same people that are like, oh, we need globalism and all of this shit. The same WEF motherfuckers, the same Bill Gates pieces of shit. You know, those are the same people. They're like, abortion is great. You should do abortion 100%. Take a look at it. You've got the Democrat Party who had a fucking abortion van outside of their
Yeah,
convention. Like, I don't know what more evidence you need that the globalists are evil and satanic. Like,
it is. It's very amusing. Yeah, it's sad.
yeah.
Um, I found a site. It's called Embrace Grace. Um, it looks very promising. It's on top of a lot of the list, so it actually doesn't just do pregnant women unplanned pregnancy, but they also help support single women as well.
Very nice. Yeah, I like
Um,
when when they've got a little bit more to help like support, because I feel like that's a big thing that you hear a lot is like, oh, I can't afford it or whatever, and
right.
just a little bit of resources and some extra help might help convince
Yeah.
people to change their mind on that.
Yeah. And also, like I said earlier, like looking at find a church. Like honestly, like I know if you come to my church with unplanned pregnancy, we literally everyone will help raise that kid for you. Um, you know, and we will help support you as a mother as well. And stuff like that. And now, like I said earlier, there are rough churches that don't. There are some churches that won't support. The best thing you do is to look for a different church. Like if the church
Right.
is not going to help you support, look for a different church. Because
Right.
one church is a not the example of what churches are,
Right.
what
It's not
churches should be. I
representative
should
of
say.
all churches.
Right. So yeah, it's just is a local church. If you're somewhere in North Georgia, like in Northeast Georgia, like private message me. Yeah, I could probably help you find a good church.
You can find him in the Discord, um,
Yeah.
which is going to be
So
called the Knights Kingdom, I think. You can pop into either my stream or Radical Knight 1998's and do ! Discord, and you'll find it. Find the link.
yeah, yeah. Please do that. And we'll help, and we'll pray for you for sure. As well, even if we can't be with you in person, um, we'll help pray for you. But like if you just happen to live in the areas that we live, we can probably help you find a church for sure. So
Yeah,
we
I'm gonna
just
be honest. I'm not too sure about the churches in my area, um,
yeah,
but I can go ahead and maybe find one that's at least all right. So I've heard a few good things about some of them, and I've heard some not so good things about those same ones. But you know, I guess it
yeah.
really is what it is. But there's also
Well,
plenty of
yeah,
other resources around in the Orlando area to
yeah.
help out. I also just want to point out real quick because I feel like this does need to be said. If you
Mhm.
don't want to be in a situation to give birth and to be a mother, there's a few things you can do about that. One of them is do not have sex. That is
Right.
always an option. That you can also have birth control. That is also an option. You can
I would only
I mean,
caution with birth control just because I know that it could chemically change your body and stuff like that. So
true.
something to that's something to watch out for. So I would just say get a condom.
True with
Obviously,
that.
I
Yeah,
would say
condoms also work
yeah, but I would still say
for
the
the most
same
part.
sex from before marriage to begin with,
Yep.
if at possible. Like I mean it is a sin, and especially if you're a believer, like abstain from sex until marriage. So
Yeah, give your man a blowy. That'll help.
well, I would do it. I would do that, but
Well, I had to
not.
say it
Let's.
for the memes. I had to say it for the jokes.
I got you. But yeah, but hey, but regardless, know that you are loved by God. And yes, we need to turn away from our sin, but just know that you are loved by God and that He'll take care of you if you place your trust in Him.
Hmm.
Ultimately, and if we suffer in this life, just know that it's only temporary. And once we are with Him in heaven, we don't have to worry about suffering anymore. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Um,
So
So
I think
is
that's
there? I'm sorry.
I think that's pretty much all I have for about abortion. I think I've said all that I
Okay.
needed to say.
Is there another topic that you'd like to talk about? Because if
I
not,
mean,
I've got one. I got one that might be kind of interesting. But if you have something you'd like to talk about, you know.
yeah, I want to talk about like the false gospel preaching, but like that's probably also another hour, to be completely honest with
Yeah.
you. So
Also, I
yeah,
feel
ten
like we
o'clock.
should we should save that one for the holy hand grenades.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because
Um.
unlike abortion, it's not necessarily because I know your podcast is like a little political focused, and
Not
false
really.
gospel preaching is not well.
Kind of.
Well,
I mean, we talk about
I'm not saying
politics
that in a bad.
sometimes, but you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just kind of
But
all
I know
over the
that's something you're
place.
very passionate about. So
Yeah,
I know it's something you're very
100%.
passionate about.
Mm.
So, but yeah, of course. So I guess maybe we can just talk about like favorite games or like what games we're playing for the next 5 minutes or something like that. Because
Sure,
like
sure.
yeah, 10 o'clock is probably when I was thinking about being done anyways.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, honestly, the one I was gonna ask about was aliens, but I feel like that is gonna at least be probably a 20-minute topic. Um,
Yeah, and like I'll be honest, like I don't even know where to begin with the topic of aliens. To be completely honest with
all
you.
right, we can save that. We can save that for the next one. I want to have you back on again.
Yeah, sorry.
So we can talk about aliens on that one, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. I just wanted to,
Yeah, sounds
you
good.
know, I had to at
Yeah.
least kind of think about asking it just because you know all of the stuff going on in the news. But as for
Yeah.
games, the one I've been playing right now is kind of a throwback, and I'm having so much fun with it. I love this game so much. It's one that G also really likes. It's called Slay the Spire. You heard of that
Yeah.
one before?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know what it is though. I've heard the name at least.
Oh, okay. So the deal is it's like a card game, right? You
Hmm.
start off with a character, and the character has like a starting relic, right? And that starting relic does something like the ironclads will heal like X amount of damage at the end of combat. I want to say it's like 6. Um,
Hmm.
and then you start off with like uh, a few cards like attack and strike or like defend, and then like one or two like advanced attacks or like something like that, or like an advanced block or something. Like the silent has strike, defend, and it's got an attack that like will weaken and will do like 3 damage. And then one that will give you like 8 block and you discard a card.
Oh,
Um,
so it sounds like a turn-based game.
it is a turn-based game, yes.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, you start out with 3 mana. The cards will go anywhere from 1 to 5 mana. There's a way for you to get more mana to obviously be able to play those like 5 cards, but like, um, yeah, you basically just have to go through and like kill the enemies, and you collect cards and relics and potions along the way, and you get beefier and beefier, and then you fight a boss. Um, and then there's either you can go to an enemy space, you can go to a question mark space, which might have like an event, or it could take you to just like a random room of enemies. There's like bonfires where you can like rest or upgrade a card. There's like a shop where you can like spend your gold that you collect as you climb through. Um, but yeah, there's like 3 bosses. There's the boss of the first stage, boss of the second, and then the boss of the third. Um, and it's all just depends on which one you get. Um, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's all. Yeah, that's cool, dude.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of it recently. I'm probably gonna actually play it again in a minute.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
What
So,
about you? What have you been playing recently? Let me guess. Final
right,
Fantasy.
yeah. But right now it's I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 right now.
Hmm. Okay.
That's the online MMO
Right.
RPG, uh, which is I think it's the third best MMO after WoW and RuneScape. Uh,
Yeah, that's the
so,
one I always hear about as being the best. Is WoW.
yeah. So, but WoW's a lot more content, like gameplay
Hmm.
focused. Well, in Final Fantasy 14 is too, but Final Fantasy 14 has a lot of emphasis on story
Yeah, but
as
also,
well.
how many years
Uh,
does WoW have on Final Fantasy 14?
a lot more. Oh, a lot more.
I
Uh,
remember seeing shit for that when I was growing up.
yeah. So, and then even like there was another Final Fantasy MMO game, which is Final Fantasy 11, which just announced a extended free trial, which I might try it out eventually because that's technically the only numbered Final Fantasy game I never
Hmm.
played.
Is that the
So,
one where
but
you have people that have like literal like brothels? Like you just
that's
walk
Final
into
Fantasy.
someone's house and then they've
That's
got
Final
like
Fantasy 14.
14. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw
yeah.
Asmongold's video on that, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with this?
Yeah, I will say that's like one side of the Final Fantasy 14 fandom. See, I'm more of the story focused guy. That's not
Hmm.
to say I won't do instant in game content, but like but right now I'm focusing on story. But it's actually a lot of fun. I enjoy the world. I like the characters. The fantasy setting done right, in my opinion. Uh, yes, you get those weird players. Just avoid Links of Lumens, the seaport. Like, just avoid
Yeah.
that. Yeah, honestly, Ultra. If you were to pick a starting location, I think you would like it. Ul'dah. It's like a city. It's like a desert area with the live focus on politics and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Uh, and one of the classes you can choose is a gladiator. So this is like battle and stuff like that. So
That's cool.
um, yeah, and the neat thing is it's free.
Oh, it
So
is.
it
Oh.
yeah. So if you get the free version, you basically get the entire base game and the first three expansions, basically 40 hours of story content each for free with no time restrictions.
What's the catch? What's the one
Uh,
you gotta pay for?
you don't have to pay anything. So there are a couple. By the way, when I say no restriction, I'm talking about time restriction. So like,
Hmm.
it's not 30 days. It's indefinitely if you wanted to, but there's some limits. So like, you can't get more than 300,000 gil, which is the currency in the Final Fantasy
Okay.
14. The max level you can do is level 80 out of the current 100 on any job. And you can do multiple jobs, which is not very common in MMOs. Typically, you have to create a new character, but you can equip any job you want on the same character. And also, if you do the free trial, you can't send friend requests, but like as someone who pays for sub, I could send you the friend request basically.
Oh,
Like
okay.
if we wanted to do like dungeons together or something like that, if you're ever interested. But yeah, it's really fun, and I'm gonna try to convince you and Grayson to bite the bullet and try it out with me. Yeah, so but and I would definitely help you a lot, and I would make sure you won't pick Linsa Luensa because you would not like that to start at that town.
Why? What's it? What's there?
Um, uh, gay stuff.
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
like weird people are usually Linsa to Linsa. And so
Okay.
the other option is Ul'dah, which is the desert city area. It's full of people that are seeking world domination. And then you have the forest where there's people that are just trying to be peaceful and not do crazy
Hippies.
things and stuff. I'm sorry.
The hippies.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yes, yes. That actually perfectly describes Gridania a little bit. Which, by the way, it's like a forest area.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so it's a. I mean, obviously, you still have to go to Linsa for story, but like you don't have to start there, basically. But yeah, but it's just every time I'm there, the lag gets rough because that's a lot of people are there. And to be fair, there are some cool stuff that happens. Like some people will have like a show full of people doing the same emote, and it's like an actual like production and stuff like that. There's events you can RP. Um, the in-game content is glamour. What glamour, by the way, is that so you want to equip good gear, obviously, if you want to do in-game content, right?
Right.
But that you may not like the look of the in-game gear. So what they do is you can basically take a previous existing gear that you like, and you can put a like you use a glamour prism to make appearance like you're actually wearing the gear, but you're not wearing the gear. So it's like a mirror
Oh,
image.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so and stuff like that. So you can look sexier, I guess. But
I wish they'd
so
do that
the
in Hogwarts Legacy.
yeah, so the best players to play with when you do content is glamour focused players. Because in order to get the piece of gear that they want to look good in, they will repeat the same dungeon over and over again to get this one pair of pants that they want to get into their glam.
That's
But
wild.
and because they've been in that same dungeon over and over again, they know how to play this dungeon very well. So therefore, they're really good.
Are you a glamour player?
I probably will when I finish the game. Um, right now, and they have this thing called like glamour plates where you can save your outfit, so that way when you get new gear, you can use the plate to do all the outfits and stuff like that. So I do have an outfit, but it was an outfit that was given to me through story that I thought looked cool. It made me look like an adventurer,
Okay.
which
All
is the
right.
premise. Which is the premise of the story a little bit. You start off as an adventurer, and then you were chosen by Hydaelyn to become the Warrior of Light. And you need to save Eorzea from the Primals. So right now I'm currently in their latest expansion because they just recently announced the next expansion, which comes out in January, and they're revamping the gameplay a lot. So, which made me excited, but I was behind. I was one whole expansion behind, so I'm playing it to beat the expansion, so that when January comes, I'll immediately play the next expansion.
Okay. I gotcha. I gotcha.
And then, so the way it works, like the gameplay, you have. So it's kind of like Marvel Rivals. There's three roles. You have the tank, the DPS, and the healer. Um, you have like 4-person dungeon, which are pretty common. And so you have one tank, 2 DPS, and 1 healer. So it is role queue, which, with the way the game works, it makes sense. Like, you draw aggro as a tank, your DPS try to do as much damage you can and provide buffs, and then healers obviously heal the tank, and also do damage. Everybody's doing damage, but and then there's 8-player content, and then there's a 24-player content.
Oh, it must get crazy.
Yeah, and the VFX lights is very blinding. Obviously, you can tone it down, but it can get a little blinding a little bit at first.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a little too much.
Yeah, and then the jobs look really cool. You can be so I'm a paladin. I'm a paladin main. Uh, there's Dark Knight, where you could have like a
Oh,
dark armor with a big sword. I'm sorry.
I just said, "Oh, Batman."
Yeah.
I heard
Or
it's
you
a
can be a
dark night, so.
Nope. You can be a reaper, which is you have scythes and you can summon the dead. Um, you can cause PTSD and become a summoner and summon those primals that destroy people. Um, and by the way, Final Fantasy XIV has a really cool story. So when the game launched back in 2010, it sucked. Like it was score like 4 out of 10, like bad, which is unusual for a Final Fantasy game, let alone a MMO. Um, so much so, so they fired the director and got the new director. The director was looking at this game. It's just like, let's just blow the world up and build it again from the ground up, and let's make it actual lore. So like the people that played 1.0 back in the day, there was this event where the world was you can tell the world was kind of ending. Like enemies were spawning very quickly. There was battles going on everywhere. The moon turned red, and it looked bigger and bigger each day. And then when uh, the server shut down, they played a cutscene of the world being destroyed. And then when you get to the Realm Reborn, which is the new version, the new base game version, the story is everybody. There was the War of Lights that saved everybody, but they forgot about them. It's been 5 years since then, so they literally included the world. Just they destroyed the world in it to build a ground up, and they made it a part of war, and it
That's
became
really
one of the
cool.
best. Yeah, so if you can, you should watch the trailer, the Realm Reborn trailer at your own time. It's a really sick cinema if you have a
Okay.
chance.
Yeah, no, I've
Yeah,
never seen it before. Might have to check it out.
yeah. So, but if you're ever interested, let me know. Anyways, that was a bit of a long one answer for me. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. Um, so is there anything that you want to go ahead and plug real quick?
Uh, Obviously, definitely tune in to our Bible study, the SFC, on Thursday nights, usually at 8 p.m.
Mm.
Um, uh,
You
and
can
stuff like
find
that.
that on my. You can find that on my Twitch channel. You can find that on G's Twitch channel, Radical Knight 1998. You can find it on uh, the Ultra Mega OK Variety channel on YouTube. You can find it on uh, Radical Knight 1998's channel on YouTube as well.
And also, I'm eventually, I don't know when, or because I still got some technical stuff to deal with, but and I'm not a very techie guy to begin
Neither am
with.
I.
Yeah, but I will eventually try to start streaming and post YouTube content. I'll definitely be posting the podcast whenever the episode comes out. And by the way, it's BibleMan_23. Although my profile picture that was probably shown on Discord isn't my profile picture. It's literally me holding a Buster sword. It's like a picture, uh, like a 3D model of me holding a Buster sword.
Yeah, so you can find
Which
him on Twitch and on YouTube under that BibleMan
Yeah,
underscore 23.
yeah, pretty much. Um, I do have a couple videos that were at least that are 6 years older or older, 4 to 6 years, I think, something like that. But you watch a younger version of me with the pandemic era, Stephen. Yeah,
All right. Well, thank you for joining me here tonight. Like I said, we'll have
yeah,
to have you back on again. We've got more things to talk about, and I feel like this was a really good
for sure.
episode. We talked about a lot of different things here.
Yeah, no, 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 thank you, Ultra. It's been a blast.
Of course.
I for sure would love to do this again sometime.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you to everybody who watched, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.